guys, Kru Joe here at Fifth Round. Just putting some more online content for you guys. So this is one that I get asked all the time, how to wrap your hands properly. Now there's a lot of different ways to wrap your hands. I'm going to teach you guys one that works for me, the one that I like to use. It was taught to me when I was in Thailand, so it's more of a Muay Thai wrap, adding in the bumper and that kind of stuff. So with this one, remember that with hand wrapping, a lot of it's preference and what feels comfortable for you. So when we go through it, you might want to change some things, but I'll go through what I do to wrap my hands. So first thing, when you guys get a wrap, make sure you unroll it. Always unroll it. All right, so what I like to do is I like to create a knuckle bumper. So that's the big pad that you guys put over your knuckles. So if you look at the wraps here, you'll see the wraps and where the seams are. So that's where you want to start folding in. So once you start folding that in, this is what's going to create our bumper. So when you're doing this, what you want to do is you want to have this pad just a little bit bigger than what your knuckles are. So I keep my hand open. I'm just going to measure it out. Once you get the experience of doing your hands a lot, you won't have to measure it. You'll be able to just know what your size of knuckles are. So from here, I got the size of my knuckles. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this down. So I'm going to fold them inside out, boom, 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 like this. So this is going to create our knuckle pad or our knuckle bumper. Now, when I do it, I don't have a set number of how many times I roll it down and fold it down. What I like to do is I go by size. So again, if you want a big knuckle bumper, you can keep on going with it. I'm like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch when I do it. So when you're doing your own hands, what you want to do is you want to make sure you grab the open end. So the end here, you can see that's where the wrap is. This is the open end. You want to grab that with your thumb and press it against your knuckles. So when you do this, you'll have a grip of it, because the worst thing that can happen when you're doing this is that when you guys try to put it on your knuckles, it folds down and then unrolls. You don't want it to unroll, because then you got to start over. So again, I'm just going to hold it here, put it over top. Now when I do it, I like to do across the front of the knuckles, across the back of the knuckles, and I do that twice. That's going to hold your knuckle bumper in place. Make sure that your hands are wide when you do it. So I go across the front, there's one, across the back, there's two. You can see the bumpers there. I keep my hands wide, I go to the front again, and then I go to the back. And then I'm going to close my hand. This is your chance to make sure that everything's in place the way you want it, because once you start getting down and you start going through it, it's going to be hard to move anything. Okay, so here, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down in between my finger here and my thumb, and I'm going to make an angle down to my wrist. Okay, so off of this, I'm going to go around, and then I come up in between my pinky and my ring finger. Okay, and go back down. When you're going back down, you create an angle on the inside. So I go back down so that when I come up again, it's going to go around my wrist on the other side. And then I'm going to go up in between the other two fingers, so your middle finger. Now, with this one, it's preference. I don't normally do this for me. I only do my first two fingers and my last two fingers. But some people like to do all three spots. So again, it's preference. So I'll do all three just so you guys can see. So again, I go down that same way, creating that angle on the inside, go around the wrist, and then I'm going to come up, last two fingers. So you can see I've went through all two fingers. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure everything's nice and tight, not too tight, but tight enough that it's not going to fall apart, and that it feels good on my hand. So you see that I closed it, and then I hit my knuckles to make sure that everything's on top. This way, if I do have to re-wrap, I'm not going to take a lot of time to unwrap, and I can just start from there. So from here, okay, we went through. We're going to go back down. What we're going to do is we're going to create an X over top of that. That's going to hold everything in place. So I went down the same way as if we were coming back to go around into the fingers, but this time I'm going to go across just the top of my hand, and I'm going to come back down here. So you can see I just made an X. So the X I'm talking about, I came up, cross, and then came back around, and you can see the X on the top of the hand. Close my hands, and the rest is going to go here. Now, so you can see that I got a nice good knuckle bumper. Everything feels good. My wrist feels strong. It's not too tight. Now, the modifications for some people don't want that big of a knuckle bumper. So if that happens, you can always double up on your X's. You can wrap around the finger. But again, that's how I do it. The best way to do it is to practice it. So again, we got a lot of time right now with all the gyms closed down. So if you want to just grab your wraps, practice it, go over everything, just keep on wrapping it. The more times you wrap it, the better you're going to get at it. So again, that's how I wrap my hands when I do it. It's a good wrap that I learned from Thailand. Now, if you do have wrist problems or finger problems, you want to kind of isolate that. So if my wrist was hurt, I would have put more wrist support. I would have took out some of my knuckle bumper, and I would have went down further on my wrist to make it a little bit stronger. Now, everyone's different. Everyone has different injuries. Everyone wraps their hands for different reasons, but it's mainly to protect your hand and your wrist. So again, this feels good for me. This is how I wrap my hands. Get a nice good wrap like that. Everything looks nice.